Hello world, it's your girl Princess V, and we're back at it again with another episode of the Road to Higher Self. Road to my higher self, road to your higher self. This is the road to my higher self. And on this episode, which is episode 9, it's going to be all about tending to your mind garden. Now, on this channel, I have a very diverse way of approaching it. Right now, I know I wanted to originally approach my channel with the Road to Higher Self series because this is pretty much the catalyst at which I am using that momentum from to continue to show up for myself, show up for the world, show up for my brand, show up for my content. So I am Princess V. I am the creator of Love Clearly. Here on any of my platforms is all about growth and empowerment by aid of personal development as well as divination. Divination is a spiritual practice where everything around you is divine, and by me showing or me sharing my practice, that's where you'll see the pick a card reading. And I did recently post my first one online a few days ago. So right now we are going to get into this message of today. Pardon the exterior because I am in the process of going into my office. At the moment, it is not ready for me yet. So we're just taking it one step at a time. So today's episode, as I mentioned previously, is all about tending to your mind garden. Your mind garden is basically where your thoughts reside, what your headspace looks like when you are all alone, when you are getting ready for bed, waking up in the morning, when you are going through an obstacle, when you are excited. What does your mind garden look like? I originally learned about the mind garden through one of my other decks. I have a deck, it's called the Mystic Sisters deck, and in there is a card of which there's a goddess that rules the mind garden. Just how you think, how you tend to the seeds, what you need to take out, just pretty much incorporating the mind space and seeing it as a garden. And with gardens, you can't just plant something and think, oh, it'll figure it out. Like, some plants need some tending to, some plants need some soil to be turned, some plants need the weeds to be pulled out. Like, there's so much that happens in the garden, and I'm not much of a garden person, but my mom is, so I do know quite a bit about the gardening lifestyle. So again, the message is tend to your mind garden. One of the main reasons why tending to your mind garden is of the utmost importance is because mastering the mind is the key to the universe. Now, when I say that, I mean it wholeheartedly, because what I've come to realize is how you are within your mind kind of is how you are in the world itself. One of my examples is your environment. I can always tell how someone's mind space is based on their environment. Even for myself, one of my first recordings, or my first episode on this channel was about, aligning yourself with your higher self, and knowing that sometimes you have to have a clear environment, a clean and organized environment, in order to really tap into your higher thoughts. And I still believe in that, because honestly, unless you're someone that can function in an organized mess, or in a mess in general, then more power to you. But if you're anything like me, we kind of take on our environment, and if the environment looks like it's chaotic, then our mind can be a bit chaotic. If our environment looks organized, then our mind is organized. Now, I say that example because when you master your mind, it is as though you are taking on the universe. You are taking on your world, your perspective by the reins, and you are saying, this is what I want my life to look like, and this is what I don't. And when you master your mind, you have the utmost power to control the thought patterns that brings you into either negative or positive emotional states. Now, the other day, I lost a very important paper, and the very next day, I needed that same paper that I lost. So the night before, I'm freaking out. I'm thinking about all the ways I should have, would have, could have. But then as I started spiraling, I thought about the fact that you don't always have to spiral down. You can spiral upwards. It is going to be another video that I'll talk more in depth about that. But it is to say that at that moment when I felt myself about to freak out, I had to realize, no, I control my thoughts. I control what I let affect me or not. And I know when you let your thoughts run wild, whether they're positive or negative, they have a way of affecting you long term. So I felt myself going on this negative spiral, but then I was like, you know what? Let me turn that around and try to find positive ways to look at this. Not to say, oh, I lost the paper, so it's okay, I can just, find another paper somewhere else. No, but it's to say, okay, I lost this paper. Let me do what I can to find it. If I don't, I'm still going to make sure that I show up for myself and I do whatever I can to make up for that paper being lost. Then fast forward, the very next day, I didn't really feel the importance of that paper being lost because things still worked out the way it was supposed to. So all that to say, I had to tap into my mind. I had to be like, hold on a second. We're not just going to let you run amok. We're not just going to let the mind go into this negative spiral where before you know it, you're sitting there feeling this very low vibration, almost borderline depression, all because of something so minor. So again, mastering your mind, that looks however you want it to look. If you are someone that wants to be a high producing person, then okay, that's going to cause a bit of a tweaking to your mind, but you can do that. If you're someone that wants to be able to function on a greater level, but in a lazy way, then I guess find a way to align your mind to that. But there's always this shift that has to happen within your mind in order to be on board with what you are doing. And everybody has their own higher self. Everybody has their own version of what they want their life to look like. And for myself, I just want my life to be filled with the financial freedom to be able to express myself in whichever way I desire. And what I've learned throughout my life is living in a positive state, remaining in this light and love energy. It helps to sustain my energy on a long term. When I go negative, it kind of depletes my energy and it's a lot harder to build it back up. So using the mind as this neutral way of deciding, okay, the heart wants to spiral this way. Is that going to spiral up or down? If it's going to take us down, the mind can say, nope, let's redirect here. If the heart wants to go in this way, that wants to spiral up, but then the mind is like, oh no, I want to think about this. The heart can then come in and say, is it taking us up or down? It's taking us down. Let's go back into the positive. So really what I'm here to say at this moment is we have a choice every day. No matter what happens, no matter what our life looks like, we can spiral upwards or we can spiral downwards. But when you learn to master your mind and know that it is the key to the universe, you will begin making efforts to spiral upwards. Okay? So that is reason number one. Mastering the mind is the key to the universe. And do with that as you will, but there's a lot of hidden wisdom in that statement. Now, number two is that thoughts are seeds. Everything that we think of, whether it's good or bad, is a seed. Now, what that seed does is totally up to you. You can have a thought of something so positive, but do nothing to tend to that seed and not show it any type of action behind it. That seed of all this positivity can spoil. It can die. It can dry out. It can become very much of a nothingness, honestly, if you don't tend to it correctly. And a sub tip to the thoughts being seeds are the fact that whatever thoughts arise, whether it's good, whether it's positive, those thoughts are here to either expand you or to restrict you. And we have the choice to expand or restrict at any moment. And what I see when it comes to our thoughts being seeds is that with attention to your thoughts, something can be beautiful. With lack of attention, it can create weeds. And if you know anything about gardening, weeds can take over your flowers. Weeds can take over the grass. Weeds can just become so abundant that all you're doing 24/7 is having to pull weeds, release this, heal this, fix this, do this. When in turn, if you just show your thoughts, show your seeds the proper attention it deserves, then you don't have to worry about the weed pulling. All you really have to worry about is going back and seeing the beauty in which those seeds have flourished into. So with your thoughts being seeds, and I do want to touch on the fact that people, maybe I can't really speak for people, I speak for myself. I definitely always believed that great ideas are one of many. We all get great ideas. We're all humans. We all get these wonderful, outlandish, life-changing moments and thoughts in life. Then I had to realize that that's not actually the case. Not everyone gets these wonderful ideas, and then even fewer actually act on it. So this is where we come to a moment where we're like, okay, we know now that thoughts are seeds, and how we show it attention or how we don't show it attention determines if we find beauty or if we find weeds. Now, with that information, it is up to us to determine how we want our seeds to grow, how we're going to show up for ourselves every single day, how we are going to pull out our self-care toolbox in case things start to go a bit finicky. We have to override our body, our mind, our soul every so often in order to align with our highest self. And you know you're at your highest power when you feel blissful, when you feel at ease, when you know that no matter what is going on externally, no matter what you can be sitting here and nitpicking about yourself, you still have the power to align with your higher self and proceed forward on this path of enlightenment. And knowing that enlightenment looks different to everybody. Just because two people are enlightened doesn't mean they're living exactly the same. Enlightenment to one might mean living out in the trees and being one with nature and meditating 24/7. Whereas the second could literally be someone who lives in their house, has their own little way of setting up mini altars, has their own way of going outside in nature for about 15, 20, maybe an hour, coming back inside and connecting more in the comfort, but knowing everything is still divine. So there is many ways of living out one's spirituality, one's daily practice, and knowing that everything comes back to thoughts. Everything comes back to your mind. Now, taking it a step further, knowing that, okay, we're mastering our mind. We have these thoughts that pop up in our mind, being able to see it as a seed that needs a environment that's going to help grow it. That in turn takes us into step 3 or reason 3, which is constantly doing things to support your mind garden in healthy ways. And I capitalize in healthy ways because people can think supporting their mind garden is doing things that they've done before, things that feel familiar to them, regardless if it's a good or bad habit. One of the main reasons one of the main metaphors or examples that pop in my head is a very common one, which is substance abuse. And substance abuse can be in alcohol, it can be in smoking, it could be in harder drugs, it could be in whatever it is that you use to numb yourself from your life. Now, I can use in my own example the fact that it's very common to drink every so often, and I also come from a smoking lifestyle. So with these two dualities, whenever I am feeling a lot of excitement or feeling a lot of negativity, they all want the same type of what's that word? It wants the same type of gratification, I guess. It wants the same type of feeling, meaning if something is really good and it's amazing, I want to celebrate it with drinking and smoking. If something is really bad and I'm feeling like, oh, I hate this, I want to numb it with drinking and smoking. So for me, because both aspects, whether it's good or bad, takes me to the same end result, which really results in me just numbing myself from my world, I now have to look at it as a bad habit, something that does not support my mind garden in a healthy way. It may support it in a comforting way where I feel as though, I'm used to this feeling. Like, I love being faded. Like, I love, like being high and being this and that. Like, okay, but at the end of the day, is that helping your present self in the long term, or is that holding you back? And what I've realized is when I'm drinking, I just want to do nothing but have fun and enjoy life, which I'm not saying not enjoy life, because I'm a big advocate of fun. I love it. But at the same time, I know what it is to have so much fun that you forget to get serious, that you forget that, oh no, life does actually have this grand scheme of this rat race, work to pay bills, sleep, wake up routine, work to pay bills, sleep, wake up routine. There's a serious aspect when it comes to life. So you can be as fun loving as you want to, but you still have to be able to balance it out with some seriousness. So finding healthy ways to support your mind garden. And what I'm learning now is healthy ways to support my mind garden is to speak out loud. Healthy ways to support my mind garden is to journal. Healthy ways to support my mind garden is to speak out loud on this audio or this video recording that I am uploading for my channel. Ways to support my mind garden in healthy ways is also doing my tarot reading and my oracle readings and just really connecting with divine. And those were just about 3 or 4 examples that did not include getting some wine or smoking or going out and partying, because I'm already past the partying lifestyle. Once I had my daughter, I was kind of like, you know what, I've partied since I was 12. Like, I can take a break now. But there's still other aspects of life that can still support you and benefit you in everything that you are doing. So this really all just sums up to one key factor that can help you along your journey, which is tending to your mind garden. Mastering the mind is the key to the universe. So if you want to tap into all that you're meant to be, tap into your mind first. 2, your thoughts are seeds. The attention you show, the attention you show it can produce a beautiful garden, or it can create weeds, whatever you truly desire. Number 3 is that you have to constantly do things that support your mind garden in healthy ways. I cannot emphasize how important it is to make sure you show up for yourself in healthy ways. Even right now, and then I'll get into wrapping this up, but even for myself right now, I'm so passionate about everything that I do, especially when it comes to me having to put it on my platforms, because I'm still only human. I can preach, but there still comes a point in time where I have to live my truth. I still have to do everything that I'm saying. And at this point, I am stumbling on my journey a bit, mainly because my environment isn't how I know it to be. I've lived alone pretty much not really all my life, all my adult life. Every so often I'd have a roommate, but I'd always come back to myself. Now, as a 28-year-old mother, I have been living alone for quite a little while now. My sister has been staying with me because she's waiting on her apartment to free up and get ready for her. So in the meantime, I've been in this limbo of wanting to get all my work done, wanting to show up for myself, wanting to do everything that I need to do, but also knowing that I still want to have fun with my sister. I still want to enjoy my day-to-day. I still want to be with my niece and nephew. I still want to, live out my life in its most authentic way. Right now, my home isn't as organized as it usually is, mainly because it's a lot going on in my home right now. And tomorrow, my niece and nephew will be back over here again, and it will get chaotic. But with all good things, they must come to an end. And there's always this moment where you have to come back to your discipline, come back to yourself. And my sister is having her last night with me tonight. And then from there, she's going into her space and I'm continuing my space. And this is where I have to realign myself back with my higher self. And everything that I'm putting out as far as content is what is going to help put me back into my right setting. So I did want to get out this video or this episode mainly because I wanted to have at least 9 episodes of Road to Higher Self on my channel. It is very diverse. It can be a episode of me just giving good tips and dropping gems on ways to enhance your life. It could be me doing a divine reading. It could be me just doing something random as far as working out. Who knows what my channel looks like? I can't tell you exactly what it's going to be, but I can say that on any platform that has to do with Love Clearly, it is all about growth and evolvement by aid of personal empowerment and divination. So that to me comes in many forms. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. I do want to but I do want to pull a card from my moon deck. This is my moon deck here. This deck is very sacred to me. All my decks are, but this one, especially around any major moon cycles. Right now we have the eclipse in Aries, and I just wanted to pull a moon card just to see what the vibes are for today, or whenever you whenever you watch this video. So a lot of cards just fell, but I don't want to bend down and grab it on camera. So we're just going to shuffle whatever we currently have here and see what we get. So we have New Moon in Virgo, a time to give rather than take. This is the card here. So when I see this card, I've always seen it as a time to look internal and say, okay, how much do we give to the world? How much do we give to everybody around us? Our loved ones, our friends, our jobs, our environment. How much do we give and give and give, but don't actually give to ourselves? And when I look at it from that perspective, I see this card as a time to give to yourself rather than take from yourself. Because we live in this human body, we find it to be so natural to just use and abuse it because, hey, it's your body. As long as you wake up, it's still working for you. That's a normal way to look at it. I can't dispute it. I even looked at it like that as well. But when you're on your road to your higher self, when you're really tapping into this better version, you have to move from this taking aspect, this constant draining of your own energy and giving to everybody else. And you have to start giving back to you. You have to give back to yourself. And giving back to yourself is such a free thing. You can give back to yourself so freely. Me even remembering to show up for myself right now. I originally began recording this a lot earlier when the sun was a lot higher. My daughter wanted my attention and she didn't really want me doing this. At first it did cause me some frustration because I'm like, baby, like I'm trying to really get our life aligned to where we need to be at. So there are going to be moments where mommy has to work and mommy can't play. As my daughter being a 3-year-old, she understood it, but she also understood the fact that, well, me wanting you should matter more. So of course I gave her time. We chilled for the day. We did our lessons. We enjoyed our morning. But then I had to wait until she was asleep for her nap to do my recording. And though I'm not speaking as loud as I usually speak, and I'm having to speak in this more lower monotone voice, I still have to show up for myself. I still have to give myself this moment in time because it makes me feel good. As I speak, as I unpack the message of the day, and as I do my tarot and card readings, as I show up for myself on a content level, as I dedicate time for my writing, I feel better. And because I'm giving to myself, when that time comes for me to give to other people, it doesn't feel like I'm taking from an empty cup. It doesn't feel like I'm pulling from this drought place to give over here. It feels more so, my cup is so full, I can give to you and still be full. I can do this and still feel great. And that's something that I am embodying at this moment. So I am going to go ahead and wrap up this video. If you're wanting to follow me on my road to higher self beyond my YouTube channel, I do have a few other platforms that I'm posting, and my flow, which I'm still really getting the kinks out to, is my flow goes from my Instagram, which I have 2 accounts. I have my personal, which is _princessv_, and then I also have my spiritual, which is love.clearly. Those 2 are my Instagram accounts that you can find me posting either my daily cards that I pull or my daily life and things that I'm doing. Then I have my TikTok, which is Love Clearly, as well as my podcast streaming on many major platforms. Now, my podcast is where I get more internal, where I do more unpacking of my thoughts. And this is where it can be a bit longer because I definitely do this in a very authentic way where it doesn't matter what I'm doing. If I am recording, it's just me speaking out loud on what thoughts arise, and I'm usually unpacking the message of the day. So those are just some ways that you can find me. As I grow and expand, you will see more and more of me. Every way to find me is going to be in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, I definitely recommend giving it a thumbs up and commenting on this video. I always recommend purple hearts because it's my favorite color, and purple hearts just represents me. Purple hearts and stars, but you can post, there's so many different stars that you can choose, so I always just say purple hearts because you can't go wrong. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up now. I definitely look forward to coming on here more and getting more consistent with my content. Soon the background will change. We will be in my office. It's just at the moment it's being temporarily used. So again, I am Princess V, the creator of Love Clearly. I am sending you peace, love, happiness, health, and wellness. definitely stay tuned because there is plenty more where this is coming from. You have yourself a great day, and we will talk soon. Bye.